Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Akta Sehgal Malhotra, founder and chief strategy officer, Kiddomentoring. As you all know, Kiddomentoring intends to bring a very interesting concept that mentoring is a two-way process and it is not just we adults who can groom, guide, teach, coach our children. Well, the process is a two-way communication where these kids, youngsters, the youth of today actually teaches us, grooms us, coaches us, and guides us on a lot of things. Continuing with this concept of kiddo mentoring, today with us is Yashb Gunasekar. Hi Yashb, welcome to the show.
Hello, hello. I'm glad to be here. It's nice.
Wonderful, awesome. So let me introduce Yashb to each one of you. Yashb is 18 years old, an adult, extremely passionate about art and music. He likes to compose, he likes to play the piano. He has been learning it for over a year now, and before that, he used to learn the keyboard. He is someone who puts his emotions on a canvas. He sketches beautifully, black and white to color, exhibiting his emotions as far as he can. A couple of abstract creations, and a lot more. And he is an inspiration to many and more. Why do I say that? Because he, as a child, had certain challenges which he and his parents fought, and more than anyone else, he fought those challenges to be who he is today. He is currently learning music from KM Conservatory Rahman School of Music in Chennai and intends to have a career in music. So once again, a very warm welcome, Yashab. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. I am absolutely okay today. I mean, yeah, nothing special about today, but any which ways, I'm excited to be on this show right
Wonderful,
now.
awesome. So am I. And I would like to take you back in journey. When you were a child, did art and craft or music and art came naturally to you, or it took a while for you to actually get there to understand that that's your passion?
So, for me, art came, I don't think neither music or art came natural. You can say a little bit of art because I mean, I started art not at a very young age. I mean, we were still like at a child, I was still extremely confused of what we are going to pursue ahead. Like, I wasn't keen into anything, I wasn't curious towards any particular field or any particular subject to explore at a young age, but art just came out of nowhere. I started becoming more curious like 10 or 8, where I started to make realistic sketches when I whatever I used to see on internet. I used to just sketch it on my paper just the way it is. And my music journey also began somewhere around 10, where my mom actually wanted me to play in church. Now I know this is a call where we are not speaking about religion, but the one thing I want to say that is my family is Christian in a way, and my mom wanted me to play in her gospel band. We have a church and we have a small gospel community, a Christian community. So she wanted me to play the keyboard in our church, where she encouraged me to take on few keyboard classes. Where she also wanted me to sing in a way as well as play keyboard. So, long story short is that I wasn't really into keyboard actually. I thought it was boring. I did not feel any interest in it. I did not feel any curiousness in it. I was not very willing to understand what else is there in the keyboard. I used to just take classes and just do exams whatsoever, just do it for without any plain motive. And I thought like, yeah, my mom is just going to make me do this until like 16, where I left the keyboard and I started doing piano because I thought of piano being a much more harder instrument and a much more, I would say I would say a much more sufficient instrument it looked more interesting to keyboard because I never used to enjoy playing the keyboard. It used to be because keyboard, if you see a keyboard, it does not, it has multiple voices. It has multiple voices of instruments. And the thing about keyboard is that it never sounded natural to me. And whatever keyboard like compositions which I used to play, it used to just be remixes of original pieces, original compositions. So I chose piano because I felt the keyboard was getting a little too boring. I knew in a way it wasn't the right call for me, and I was doing terribly bad in keyboard. Like except in just last years before I left the keyboard and I started doing piano, and then I started to compose my own music again to explore what are the possibilities of compositions. And yeah, it's all, I'm still in an exploration mode. It's still, I don't have like particular motives to go ahead for.
That's some analysis that you have done, piano versus the keyboard. And it's wonderful that, what you are doing, you're doing it so passionately that you're actually trying to understand that what's right and what's not right and how to actually understand it. That's commendable. So, art came to you and then music came to you, right? um, I've seen some of your sketches that you make, right? They're quite abstract. So, what's the fascination with the abstract?
Everything. So the thing about abstraction is what normally a lot of people misunderstand is that everybody thinks, or a lot of people, or the majority of the people think that abstract art is worthless in a way. Now I know it's a bold statement. Even I used to think in a way that abstraction or abstract form of art used to be meaningless, confusing. And the thing about abstraction is, compared to realism, is that abstraction has a very indirect way of communicating what abstract artists want to convey to the audience. Now, here I'm again giving a kind of a comparison what I believe so, or why I believe abstraction is really important in art. Now, the sad part about being an artist, or the sad part about the art we see today, is that realism still exists. And don't get me wrong, realistic artists are extremely skilled at what they do. But what's the point of realism? You're just trying to you're just trying to be as realistic as you can. Like if you make a portrait, like if I want to make a portrait of you, for example, I'll have to study your features. I need to study the basis of what exactly you are as a portrait. Round, have black hair. You got to get the exact proportionates in a realistic portrait, which is actually pretty hard to master. Let alone like do a realistic portrait. Now here's the thing about realism. It's that when you present a realistic art, it's already an eye-catching form of piece. If you give any form of realistic composition or a realistic piece in a way, people will already understand that you're trying to convey a particular individual as your art. You're trying to convey that particular individual's emotions, how he or she is feeling, sad, happy, nervous, or and various types of emotions in a way, which I believe is kind of sad to see. I mean, again, people have their own views of realism. They like to see the artist's technical skills, the accuracy, the realism, the colors, the emotions. That's what normally the unartistic people see, the ones who are not at all inclined into art, or who are terribly bad at art but love to see random paintings all over the all over the place, who have like a like an interest towards paintings. They just want to see some skills, just some technical skills. That's not what art is all about. Art is more upon technical skills. And what is the best thing about abstraction is that you're trying to convey your audience a message which they should interpret. You don't try and make them interpret. They are the ones who are supposed to interpret what you're trying to convey in a way. So it's like if you place an abstract art and if someone tells you to explain it, there's no point. What's the point of explaining your work? What's the point of giving that I try to imagine this and that? Why not the audience think what they think it is in a way? Because that's what's the point of abstract art, trying to convey indirectly towards your audience, and yeah, just challenge the audience's perspectives because of how abstraction is an extremely open ended type of art. I hope you can make a little bit of understanding. I hope you understand a little bit on how abstraction derives from realism in a way.
Absolutely, absolutely. You've explained it so well, and I completely agree with you that if we have to explain everything that we do, then perhaps what's the point? The person has to understand. And I think when you create something which is abstract, little bit only that I understand about painting and art, you are actually letting your imagination go beyond the obvious,
Yeah,
right? I think it gets you thinking as to what is the artist thinking, and it also gets you to think and explore your own mindset also. Because I also write poetry, but my poetry is different. So even in poetry, if you give a particular topic, a person can interpret it in many ways, right? And it's what you interpret it, you write about. And sometimes there are very cliche way of writing it, sometimes there is a very abstract way of thinking about it or looking at it in a very different manner. So which is, you have explained it very well, and I'm super impressed that you're not just honing your skills, but you're also understanding the theory behind it. You're trying to comprehend what actually goes into that art form, whether it is music or the abstract painting that you do. And I think that is something which is very important, because a lot of people just do it at a very superficial level, right? But you're trying to get to the core of it. And please allow me to read one part of your profile over here, that Yashab has managed to work around his challenges of, if I'm pronouncing this right, dysgraphia and Aspergers, to
yeah.
finally find his track and path in life. What I understand of these challenges is that would there was a reflection to the learning ability of an individual. And because of that, Yashab had to face a lot of challenges in his growing years when it came to academics. How was that phase for you, Yashab?
So, like academics in a way, right? How have I faced those academics and how was the situation? Is that what you're trying to ask?
Yep, yep.
Okay, good question. And it's a question which I believe has always been in my head for a long time. But yeah, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because it has helped me in some form, in a way. I mean, despite all those challenges where I was not able to cope up with teachers or not able to cope up with students, it has made me a more confident person. So at the end of the day, yeah, everyone has their own struggles. Academics was not exactly a huge struggle, but yeah, there was a time where I could not do anything because we never found direction in a way. And for me, yeah, it was difficult. But for me, I was just like, we never had the correct form of, even, we did not even have the best teachers. Because sadly, the truth for me is that either be it my favorite subject or my least favorite subject, I would probably only be interested if the teacher understands the student. So for me, even coping up with teachers has been a challenge. There have been hard-headed teachers. There are teachers who never like understood their students properly, which is like probably the biggest problem in our system. Like sometimes teachers, even though they wholeheartedly, there may be teachers who may wholeheartedly do their subject, but the thing is that even if they are great at their job, but they're still not able to understand the capability of the students, it would be a kind of a struggle, a huge struggle. Because if you can understand the heart of a student on how he or she is able to cope up with that, if the teacher understands that, then you may be sorted off in a way. And I would say, yeah, it was a difficult journey, but yeah, I would just keep that journey aside and just continue and move forward, because it was not a big deal. It used to be, but thankfully those days were over in a way. And I believe struggles will always happen. And the thing is that you got to deal with it some way or the other, because the thing is, life is unfair, unpredictable. Sometimes it's misery in a way, but the thing is that at the end of the day, it's not worthless in a way.
Wonderful, very well said. Life will bring in troubles, life will bring in challenges, but it's not really worth spending so much of time pondering over what happened. But move ahead, find that direction, and move ahead in life. Wonderfully explained, and precisely the reason that I always say it is not just that we are adults. We have, of course, Yasha is also an adult here. But if we talk about we grown ups, like who are in their perhaps the 40s or the 50s, or the parents, we are not always right. We may have the understanding, but we also need to understand the the mindset, the perspective that the child or the growing adult is trying to put forward. So Yashab, I am so glad that we are having this conversation, to know how the youth of today thinks, how they look back on their initial years, and how all your challenges and difficulties have actually shaped you into a very confident individual. That's commendable. So, who would you give the credit to?
I don't know. I mean, there is no particular individual who I believe. I mean, of course, my parents, my mom would be there, but the thing is, everyone has been part of it, so nobody gets the most credit out of anybody, because it was all a team play. It was all a combination of effort. Sometimes I believe my dad didn't do enough effort, sometimes I believe my mom did the most effort, but the thing is, it doesn't matter, because everybody's effort combined at the end of the day has given me a form of direction. So I would not give a lot of credit to anybody. Everybody deserves enough credit. At the end of the day, we all made it.
Yes. I like the way you think.
Okay.
And if the youth starts thinking like this, perhaps they will overcome a lot of this. These days, small kids, all they want to do is just win. They don't have that passion to really participate or to pursue something. But here you are actually getting to the depth of things. You're understanding not just your art, your passion, but you're also trying to understand what life is all about, and that's commendable at your age. So Yasha, from black and white to moving to a little bit of colored pictures, right? There was a time that you transited to bring in color in the pictures,
Hmm.
right? So was
Yeah.
that a natural transition, or your teacher prompted you that you need to bring in some colors into your painting, or what happened? Also, I see a lot of your paintings with your parrot. You have a pet parrot, right?
Yes, I have a pet parrot.
Yes.
So excuse me. So the thing is about this illustration is that when I used to be with a lot of teachers, nobody prompted it. But the thing is, I wanted to do some stuff. I mean, I wasn't initially a very good painter, because I never knew brush control or the basic mechanisms of how you paint stuff compared to illustration in a way. So the thing is that when I started drawing, I mean, it naturally came to me. No one prompted it. I mean, I used to definitely get annoyed when people said, you gotta paint something, you gotta paint something, because I'm to be honest, I'm never really accurate. Even to this day, I'm still not really accurate with my brush strokes in a way, because of how, like, because I can lose control in my painting skills compared to my drawing skills in a way. But yeah, it came in naturally. No one prompted it, and I was not extremely curious, but it just came in naturally. And yeah, we I started my sketches started transitioning. I mean, we still do illustrations, but we kind of do a half. Like we kind of do 50-50. We do sometimes illustrations, sometimes we do color. But yeah, colored works came in like yeah, a long time back. But the thing is that it just came in. Nobody instigated it, neither did I specifically choose it.
So, what kind of music do you like to create?
So for now, I am working on avant-garde music, serialism in a way. Now the thing about serialism and avant-garde, it's very much, in my opinion, extremely similar to abstract art. Now serialism, now I would say that is like it is one half of music, which is like the abstraction part of music. It is a type of music which strips away the traditional norms of music. Like if you haven't understood or haven't heard about the traditional forms of music theory, there are scales, there are particular melodic patterns, there are specific systems to compose, there are major scales, there are minor scales, there are all these types of modules which are supposed to follow in the traditional part of music, which is all required, but serialism strips all of that. It mostly is a type of music which does not have a particular scale or a particular melodic pattern, but that doesn't mean it is messy. It has its own pattern of its own. It's a 20th century uh, compositional technique which was brought in by Austrian composer Arnold Schoenberg, where he began this whole second Vietnamese school in Austria, where normally people wanted to strip away melody in a way, which I believe is an interesting factor because just like how we perceive paintings by eyes, we can perceive music through ears. So serialism kind of gives it a very similar taste. Just like in art, it kind of challenges the listener of what he or she is hearing. Like just like art where normally people just show you a realistic sketch and tell you that this is an individual which I have painted and he or she is sad or happy in a way, a very direct form of communication. Same way, even in normal forms of Western music, like Mozart or Beethoven or Brahms or even Bach, they all put emotions in their type of music. However, in serialism, the type of music which I am trying to compose right now, it does not exactly convey emotions to you in general. It's extremely messy. It's chaotic in a way. It does not. It for the in a listener's perspective, it seems that it's all random. It's messy. It 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 challenges you extremely well on what you're hearing. And yeah, the greatest thing about serialism is that it's unpredictable, and it is part of a type of music which I am kind of enjoying to listen. I mean, I'm enjoying myself listening to it, which is avant-garde. It kind of again, it has a very similar form of pattern or a similar rule where you strip away the traditional forms of music. It gives you this unpredictability. It gives you something which is not normal. It is extremely experimental in a way, and I believe it's a type of music which the youth or anybody should challenge themselves if they want to really listen to it, because I would recommend this type of music to be heard by those people who really want to listen to music, who want to really be curious in exploring music. Because in classical music, it's a personal opinion, people are going to be tired of just hearing the same repertoire, the standard repertoire over and over again. But the truth is that this standard repertoire gets a lot of views. It is a major attractor of classical music. Modern composers are not usually like I don't believe they are usually at a very high level of attraction. They are not composers who are extremely famous. They may be known for what they do, but they still to this day do not sit well. Like the 20th century Arnold Schoenberg, even though he is a known composer and he is known to be a genius of his time, he is still not respected by the rest of the community, the rest of the classical music community, or even the musical audience of this day and age. People still would like to listen to the old classics like Mozart or Bach or Beethoven, based on how monumental those works are, on how much of emotions they all carry. I mean, yeah, it's just a personal opinion, but people still aren't curious to this in this day and age. And sadly, the thing is that unless a particular person really steps in and says that this type of music should represent our generation, it nothing will ever change.
You are so, what do I say? You're an encyclopedia when it comes to music and art. I mean, I am learning so much from you. And we have Ela saying that, well said, music can be interpreted as per one's sensibility, and there are layers and streaks, and deconstructed form of music also has a pattern. And she is also loving this entire conversation. In fact, there are many people who are watching you right now and are, completely, you know like, I think I would say that I'm in a state of shock, that for for the amount of knowledge that you have, for the passion that you're pursuing, is commendable, absolutely commendable. And I
Thank you.
think, you know it's a big message for a lot of people who are watching us now or would watch later, be it adults or kids or youngsters, that whatever you do, put your heart and soul in it. That's an underlying message that is coming loud and clear from Yasha. That don't just do something for the sake of doing it. You know, you need to be that change maker. As he explained about the music, as he explained about the abstract art, he's not just creating something because he wants to create. He's trying to get into the depth of it, and that is what is passion. That is the true passion. That is, this I would call as passion and panache. Panache is when you actually live what you are doing. You are totally into it, and you are like a walking art and music. Nobody, you know your theory, you are doing it practically, and you're completely in it. That's
For now.
amazing. So, yeah, sure. If I gave you a chance, to be the prime minister of a country, it was his birthday yesterday. So,
Mhm.
what would you like to do for youngsters?
I would never be the prime minister. I would
Okay.
definitely not take a prime minister's job. I would definitely not take a government's job because I don't think I am fit to run a country. The thing about me is that I can be extremely bad at leadership in a way. And the thing is, especially if I would be the chance to, if in a million years, if I would be the prime minister,
Hmm.
I don't know what I would do for the youngsters. See, the thing is that about youngsters, I was wanting to come to this fact about being the prime minister and about youngsters today. I believe, even as I'm going to consider even myself, we complain a lot. We complain a lot being youngsters. Despite all our difficulties, despite challenges, even if I am going to take myself as an example, I believe we all complain and we will continue to complain. We complain about everything. Like, let's go back to the school example on the difficulties that I have faced in school. So, I complain a lot about the system, and I believe everybody, or I would imagine a lot of youngsters complain about the school system, which is, I believe, hypocritical. And I would consider myself to be a hypocrite as well, in a way. So the thing about the education system is that we all complain it that it's extremely stressful. It is this form of life which a lot of youngsters want to avoid in a way, because you are exposed to 100 different subjects, not accurately, but a lot of subjects. And the thing is that not everybody can be good in everything. And people want to complain about the fact is that these teachers give you too much homework. These parents are putting pressure on you. But Could we really, like, could we really say anything else other than that? I mean, your parents, at the end of the day, if you would even remember that parents says you gotta get good grades. I mean, could we really blame them? Of course, they would give us stress. I would put myself a lot of stress, but could we really at the times blame them and just call them that they are the ones putting stress on me? They're doing it for a particular purpose, and the thing is that our school makes them like you gotta have to tell your child to do better, and with that overload of stress they will definitely put pressure on the kids. And the thing about us children is that we like to whine and say that school is not fit for me, or I'm not able to do this properly in school, or something like, school is a mess and I just want to leave it. But it's kind of hypocritical where sometimes there can be students who can just choose their school of their liking. They want to study in a particular school, they want to study in a top rated school, and they themselves complain about being in an education system where they themselves have placed the situation on. So I believe it's kind of hypocritical in a way. I know school is hard, and I guess everybody can agree on that. School will always be hard, or everything is hard. Nothing is easy in a way. If you're good at something, like the great quote I've heard is, if you're good at something, never do it for free in a way. And the thing is that you will always be good at something and you will always be bad at something. The problem is that we like to complain a lot, including myself. And I would be part of that. Like, if I would be a prime minister, then you got to be honest in a way. I mean, see, honesty, to be, in my opinion, is going to be hated for a very long period of time. Criticism will also be hated for a long period of time because people do not understand what is the difference in criticism and hate. They believe honesty is a form of hate in a way. Like, if I say my videos aren't good, my YouTube videos, because I do YouTube videos also, where I do these small piano recitals as well as I play my pieces. When I criticize my own videos, I'm not instantly disliking myself, because I'm going to go a little bit personal. There's a little bit of a misunderstanding that I go into. I'm considered this negative individual. And the thing about this negativity is that this form of negativity, this form of criticism is important, which is why I kind of dislike a particular group of people, these positive influencers. I mean, it's amazing to be positive, it's amazing to smile, it's amazing to be happy all the time. But for how long? Until reality kicks in a way. So I critique my videos, saying that sometimes my piece is too bad or my position is too bad. I'm trying to be as honest as I can just to improve myself. Sometimes it definitely hurts, but at the end of the day, it needs to be worth it. The point needs to be proven. You cannot always lie all the time. You can't always glorify yourself all the time. Won't that be narcissistic if you would do so?
Absolutely. And narcissism is okay to a certain extent. That if you do a good job, or if you want to look good, or you want to spend some time on your own self to improve yourself, that much of narcissism is fine. But you cannot be a narcissist to such an extent that you actually forget what the reality is, as Yashab said. And I completely agree with you. If we ourselves can actually evaluate our work, whether it is art or the regular mainstream work or anything that we do, if we ourselves can be a critic and look at it more objectively, perhaps all of us can do much better than what we. So the way you mentioned that you look at your videos once you have made them and you evaluate it, I also do that. So every conversation I have with someone, I revisit it to understand that did the conversation actually flow in the right direction? Did I ask the right set of questions? And there is a doha, there is a verse in Hindi by Kabir, which basically, in a sense, means that it is always important to have a critic in your life. And believe you me, if you yourself are your critic, I don't think that's being negative. That's actually being objective about something that you do. Else, you will only, you know, fly in the air and you will lose the base, and then it will be very difficult to actually get back to the base. At the end of the day, you will fly high as much as you want to, but you have to be grounded. So that is very important, and that's a very powerful message, Yashab, that you have shared today. And I'm sure a lot of adults and a lot of youngsters who are watching us or listening us will agree to what this young man has to say. That,
Like,
yeah,
I'm sorry
please,
to interrupt. I wanted to even give you one more example. Now,
sure, please.
this is a thing on dysgraphia. I hope I've not interrupted, but I wanted to speak another real life example. Now, this is a person who I never used to like. I despise this person, and she used to be my English teacher. Again, a very personal story. But the thing is that despite her having a very bad personality, she used to be really, really critical. Like, bad personality, I won't say, sorry, I won't say bad. I believe it's too bad, too brutal, to be honest. I would say she was extremely sarcastic, and she used to be very indirect with whatever she used to do. And her motives in teaching the class is that she used to get a lot of sheets, and she used to tell us to write essays over essays over essays when I used to still be in school. And the whole motive is that Cambridge is extremely, like, when I used to be in international school, of course, I used to work with Cambridge International School. The thing is that she used to be extremely stingy. You know what stingy is? Like, she really wants you to, like, really, like, nail whatever you are able to do. Like, nobody could pass her class. Not a lot of people would. I would definitely get stressed at a class because I never used to get my things right. But the thing was that there was nothing else she could do. She had to be, she had to push everybody to another level of, I would say, insanity. Whenever you used to write your English essays, and my dysgraphia always kicked in because, as well as my anxiety, I used to get, like, I still get nervous on writing my sentences, whether I have the correct vocabulary, if I have the correct articulations, if I have even the basic stuff. I would definitely get nervous. But the thing was, she was a really great critique in a way, and I used to despise her, but I believe she just did her job. She just knew these teachers at the end of the day, even though they are stressful, they are also controlled by another set of individuals. It's a hierarchy, it's a system which nobody can destroy in a way. Nobody can get passed through unless there is a mass community which says that we don't need the system anymore. It is old fashioned, it is out of place, and it needs to be gone in a way. Nobody will get past that then.
Let me say that you are articulating it very well. You're using the right set of words. So the vocabulary isn't a problem, the articulation isn't a problem. And I think, whatever your teacher had intended to, she has done that. You may perhaps feel nervous in putting those sentences in writing, but whatever I'm hearing from you is very well thought. You have the knowledge, you have the comprehension, and you have the ability to actually present it in the most appropriate manner. So I don't think that there is any issue at all. Though I'm not an English teacher, but and I do a lot of public speaking, and you're very confident. You're talking well. You know your subject. You have control over your subject, and you're making a lot of sense. So that's very very commendable. So Yasha, if I grant, yeah, applaud. So if I granted you three wishes, what would they be and for who?
For whom?
Yep.
Well, honestly, it's gonna be for myself because I believe my mom is all my parents are already set in their ways. I am single without any girlfriend, and I'm happy about that because it's hard to get a partner unless it's the right time. So I will be, if you would give me three wishes, I would definitely take it for myself. uh, the but I would say my three wishes would be to just give me the right decisions and just give me the right decisions. That's it. Just give me the correct decisions to have my actions. Just I just need the right thought, the right mindset, and the right thought process of what I'm going to do. Because if you just have no good decisions, or if you don't think before you do something, then there's no point.
I mean, isn't everybody super impressed by what this young man is saying? He has lessons after lesson for all of us. And I'm not saying this just because he's on this talk show, or rather, he's on Kiddomentoring's talk show. I'm saying this because I genuinely mean it. And a lot of you would agree with me that he is actually telling us what the reality is. To be able to take the right decision, you have to have the right mindset, the right thinking power, the knowledge, everything. So, in his three wishes that he's asked for, he's pretty much summed it all, that all that he needs. Wonderful, Yashab. It was absolutely amazing talking to you. You've just raised the bar of the conversation, and I hope that the youth thinks like this, thinks different, thinks abstract, does something which brings about the change in the mindsets of the conventional thought process, because that is where actually the change will come. A lot of us just talk about it, but here is one person who's actually wanting to do that, be it in the form of art, music, or in his thought process. A lot of you may think, and as he's also saying that they may be very different, he might be thinking very radically, but what he's saying is absolutely right. And thank you so much, Yashok, for sharing your thoughts with us. So, of course, you spoke about the youth, about as to what the youth should do. But would you have a message for the youngsters of our country, or for the world for that matter? What is it that they need to do to to get their whatever they want in life, to be able to pursue their passion?
Just make the right decisions, and you will just do it. It's not so here's another thing which I was thinking about when you spoke about how what is that message which I can give to everybody who want to work towards their passion. I don't think it's only about hard work, because the thing is that there can be times where we can work immensely but for the wrong things. So the only thing, again, as I said, what even I want personally is just having the right decision. So yeah, I would just tell everybody, make up the right decisions and just be dedicated towards that if you believe they are right.
You may be doing hard work, but that might not be the right thing to do. So the right decision making is important. And with that, if you add the hard work, the passion, the perseverance, and the panache, you will be able to achieve all that you want to. Absolutely brilliant, Yasha. Thank you once again from the entire team of Kiddo Mentoring for speaking to us so candidly, so openly, sharing your thoughts on, about art, music, what you think about the youth in general. And that was a very powerful message again, that, we crib a lot. All we do is whine, crib about everything that's around us.
Okay, another one example I wanted to speak. I hope
Sure.
I did not interrupt again.
No?
Now, being a person who suffers with, I won't say suffer, who has Asperger's, or someone who has dysgraphia, here's another thing which I always debate with. I mean, I may be wrong, I may be correct in a way, who knows? So here's the thing. Sometimes we can use our problems as an advantage in a way. I have always, like recently actually, I've been always thinking about this cribbing, this form of cribbing. Like, see, like even in like people like me who has these kind of these Asperger's, sometimes I believe I'm just utilizing them as an advantage. Like I'm going for these therapies, I'm going for these therapeutic classes where if you go, you will just get an advantage for it. Sometimes I believe that it should not be it the way it is. Just treat me as a normal person. I mean, I know the reality is sad, it's hard indeed, but there's no other way to do it. I mean, definitely I can be extremely broken down in a way, But the thing about the youth and all these Aspergers, this depression, this stress, and all, I believe we use these terminologies way too often. We do not know exactly what these depression, this stress, and all, like, we do not understand the meaning, we do not understand the way it works in a way. We just throw it around the table and we just take an advantage of a situation. Like, there was this time, of course, I may be wrong again in a way, there was this friend of mine where she asked me that, how was your 11th grade? Because I studied in 11th grade and I went away from it. She asked, how was your experience? I said, whatever I said, it was bad. I was not able to cope up. I was not able to manage yourself. And the thing is that she is extremely she is an extremely amazing student. I won't give her a name, but she was an extremely amazing. She's still an extremely amazing student, getting B's and A's. And the thing is that I told her that I was just not able to cope up with these teachers. I was not able to cope up to the particular level in 11th grade. And she said, oh, it's all right. You're at least managing it. You did something or the other. I said, yeah, but look at you. You at least know your subjects very well. You know how to manage better than I do. And I am literally comparing because she's definitely, she can manage two to three different subjects, whereas I am like, I just want one good subject and you just let me do it. And then she just comes up and just tells me that I had clinical depression. I had felt no sympathy for it at all, because I know she may have suffered from depression, she may have had some form of like mental breakdown, but sometimes I always feel these situations cannot always be true in a way. Sometimes people just want to gain that quick sympathy that, oh, if I'm going to tell you that, oh, I had depression, I had stress, probably that person will think that, oh, people have struggles of their own. The thing is, I already knew that she had struggles of her own. But when you throw around these terminologies literally everywhere, I will just I will just disconnect with you unless you give me a proper analysis of what your experience is other than that. Because people with depression or people with stress, they just don't, I don't think they just convey it the way it is.
Truly, very true. We should not unnecessarily use these terms so loosely, that I'm depressed or I'm stressed and so on and so forth. What I think it is important to focus on the strength of an individual rather than constantly talking about the challenges or the weak spot. And we don't need to sympathize with anybody. We have to have empathy.
Yes.
If we can understand what their challenges are, support them. Don't just make them feel constantly that, oh, because you have this, so you are unable to do so. But please understand, because of whatever the situation is, whatever their challenge is, what is it that they are able to do? That's just a shift in the mindset. And when that shift is there in the mindset, you will see the difference. And let me say to everyone over here that Yashb Gunasekar is not here because he has those challenges. He is here because of the passion that he has been exhibiting in the form of his art and music. And at Kiddomentoring, every child from the age of 5 till college going, whoever has the passion, whoever has the enthusiasm to do something, has the right to be here, will be invited to be on this platform to share their journey, how they are pursuing what they wish to do, because they, in some way or the other, are an inspiration. Our intent is to bring out the positives, to bring out what their potential is, and not to say, oh, because you did this because you couldn't do that. No, we all have our own strengths, we all have our own uh, likes and dislikes, we all have our own strong point. But the so-called normal, as Yashab was talking about, well, we don't know everything. There are a lot of things that we don't excel at, we just passingly know it, but we don't talk about those things. So why are we trying to harp about those challenges for someone who actually has them? Come to think of it, we all have challenges, don't we? And if we have challenges, so do others. Let's accept and let's look at an environment of inclusiveness where everybody gets to do what they wish to. We accept an individual the way he or she is, for who he or she is, rather than for something that they are not or they are not capable of. Like, I may not be a good painter, that's a reality, but I may be good in perhaps hosting a talk show. That's my strength. So we need to appreciate that. Thank you so much, Yashab, for talking to us, for bringing out such important aspects, which is the need of the hour. Everybody needs to understand this, everybody needs to internalize this, and only then can that change that we are all wanting for. The concept of a concept school, the concept of a child who can choose a subject that he or she wishes to. Like, I remember having studied so many subjects and not having used even a single one when I started to work. And I'm sure that's the case for many of us. Would we rather groom ourselves, hone our skills for something that we actually wish to do rather than studying 20 subjects and know nothing about anything? I think the educationists need to think about it. And for the teachers, actually understand the child, because when we understand the child, we will actually work upon that child to be able to help him or her and not make them a pressure cooker where they are stressing, fussing, and all they are doing is just running after marks, because then we are all actually creating robots and not human beings, and all we need is good human beings who can empathize, who can bring about the change, who can actually make a difference. So I hope we all will be able to make that little difference by our gestures, by our efforts. And youth like Yashab are the change makers who can bring about this. So, congratulations, Yashab, for being that change maker, for doing an amazing job. And I always tell everybody, every kid, every youth who comes here, that there are these two people who really do a lot for us, our parents. you know uh, do say thank you to them. I'm sure you already do that, but again, a special thank you to them for guiding you, coaching you, for evolving with you, because as parents we evolve with our kids, as we also come with a lot of baggage, but we are progressing, and I'm sure we'll all do a great job. So thank you, Yashab, for being here. It was wonderful interacting with you. And before I let you go, we'd love to see some piece of art.
Yeah, sure, sure. Yeah, I was waiting for it. Yeah,
Yeah, of course. I can't let you go without that.
absolutely, absolutely. So this is probably a favorite work I've done recently. Oh, it is an abstract work. It is a horizontal work. So let me try and fit this piece of work as much as I can do in this minimal frame. So here it
I can
is.
give you the entire frame. I'm going to exit out and join you back, okay?
Pardon? I think you can see it. I don't know. Okay, so everybody look at this. Wait a minute. I think it's this way. So if you see this work, this was a rhythm based exercise, or you know what, not rhythm, it was a music and movement based exercise which I had done with my art teacher, with with the intention of hearing a particular musical composition and trying to understand what to paint, what the music is, and what do you want to exactly paint on this piece of paper. So again, I had chosen a very modern piece, which I kind of painted at the same time I was listening to this piece simultaneously. I was doing two actions, and I believe this was a very great work of mine. It was a very admired work by my teacher, and this is actually a particular work which I believe I enjoyed a lot. I hope everybody saw it properly. And
Yes, we
yeah,
did.
this is a and yeah, I really like this work
And what
based on
I could
that.
make out from this painting of yours, Though of course you mentioned about the rhythm, but what I could visualize in this is that, there is a village where there are these women and men. They are doing a folk dance and they're enjoying themselves without any inhibitions. That's my interpretation of this painting of yours.
I like it. I like that interpretation.
Yeah, so because I can visualize some some individuals who are there, the shapes, that form of a human, the human shape I can see there, and then there is grass and things like that. So it's beautifully depicted. Thank you so much for sharing this, and we'd love to see more piece of work. Would request your mom to share your YouTube link so that we could also see the piano composition, and or
I
if
can
not,
actually share it to you right now.
sure,
Okay.
please do that.
I hope it's all right if I share to it right now.
Yeah, yeah,
I am
please go ahead.
in the
Please
in the
go ahead.
live in the live chat right here.
Yep,
Just a minute.
please do that.
I hope I'm not talking too much. I hope I am not
No, I am
waste.
loving every bit of the conversation. And we have Gorika Anamika
Oh,
saying, super proud of you. And he's an inspiration to so many out there. We have Urmila Kamulkar saying, so proud of you. We have Bodhi Chosu saying, good job, Yasha. And we have Janil Murzello saying, very cool. We have Deepa Janyani. We have dancer Abhinav, who is 20 years old, 21 years old boy. And he dances amazingly well. And the way he likes to introduce himself is that he likes Shah Rukh Khan a lot. And he also has overcome challenges in life, and he also pursued his passion like you. And very soon, Abhinav will also be here talking about his journey. We have Neetu Savita Arora saying wonderful. We have Alfred Gunasekar, sorry, Swati Mishra saying very interesting. So, a lot of hearts have come for you, which means a lot of people have loved the conversation. So, have you shared the
I'm
link to your
sorry.
YouTube?
I am extremely sorry, but I do not know how do you send the link. Don't worry, I'll tell my mom to
Okay,
send
I'll
the
tell you
link.
what you need to do. Can you see your private chat button?
Yeah, no, I know exactly where to send it. I'm just not able to find the YouTube link, but that's all right. I'll tell my
Okay,
mom
not
to
an
send it.
issue. You can ask your mom to share it with us, and you could share some pictures of the painting that you have created. So wonderful, wonderful talking to you. Thank you so much from the entire team of Kiddomentoring, and we hope that we can talk again, and we get to hear more from you.
Uh-huh. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I like.
Super,
Yeah,
super.
welcome, welcome. Yeah, I
Yeah.
wish we will talk together. Thank you. It
You
was
want
a
to say
delight.
something?
No, it's just thank you for the conversation, and yeah, I liked every bit of it.
Amazing. Thank you so much. God bless you. Take care and continue to create some amazing piece of work. And would love to see them.
Yeah, thank you.
Take care. God bless you.